So what's going on with the car market right now? Because we're seeing prices begin to come back down. The Cybertruck was
Right.
something that
Yes.
I've been watching a lot. And I saw prices start at like 180 grand.
Right.
And then every week they've been dropping by $10,000 a week. Now I saw one that recently sold for 108, which would have been cheaper than if I had bought one and paid sales tax
Yes,
on
sir.
it.
Ironically, you would say that. I canceled my Cybertruck because I've been watching the market the same way as
Me
you.
too.
So I first saw them come out. I had one on order, and they're trading for 200 grand or whatever. And sure enough, though, as they started to flood the market, it's legit. Every single week, a cheaper one is out there for 10 grand less, 10 grand less, 10 grand less. And I was like, I'm not going to spend $120,000 on a brand new Cybertruck when I can buy a used one. And especially for social media, the Cybertrucks are just everywhere. I mean, I saw 4 in a matter of 15 minutes the other day when I was filming a video. I mean, they're around every single street corner. And I think that's just sums up the market as a whole, though. Like all car values, like what happened during COVID is probably never going to happen ever again. Like that was such a unique moment in time. And I think we almost need to remind ourselves that that wasn't normal. And we have to change our thought process to back to 2019, because most of the time a car comes out at MSRP, you drive it off the lot, you lose 10%. Like that's what it used to be our whole lives until COVID happened, before like cars would trade over for MSRP. And so I think the market is just correcting back to that old normal is what's happening. And I think the Cybertruck is, the pure definition of that. And someday I'll pick up a Cybertruck, I bet, for 50, 60 grand, maybe even in a year or two.
So what do you think the most overpriced car is right now that you think is going to depreciate in value?
I mean, I think the EVs are taking a big hit right now.
Yes, but they're so cheap that I'm looking at some of the Tesla prices
Right.
on Facebook Marketplace.
Right.
There was a Tesla Model 3 that the guy put it up. I think it was a 2020. And he was asking like 20 grand.
Insane.
And it was low miles.
Insanity.
And I was like, how is this a $20,000 car
Right.
that 2 years ago would have been 38?
Right.
It's wild. They're so.
I think, and I think the Teslas, it's crazy they're that cheap. I don't know if it's just supply and demand. There's just so many Model 3s that have been sold that eventually that's just going to happen no matter what, because there's so many on the market that eventually somebody's going to want to sell a car and they're going to make theirs the lowest on the market and then somebody else, and it's just going to drive the price down. But I think the EVs that are non-Teslas, especially the luxury ones, are going to take the biggest hit, mainly because I had a Hummer EV. It was one of the coolest trucks of all time. I loved that thing. I sold it to shore up some money to get the Koenigsegg, but I took that truck to Moab once, and it was the biggest disaster of my entire life, because the Tesla charging network is incredible. You can take a Tesla anywhere in the United States and you can charge it. You have tons of range. You can use the supercharger. You can be charged in 20, 30, 40 minutes. But the third-party charging network for all the other brands is atrocious. I took the Hummer EV to Moab, and every single other charger was broken. The ones that would work were charging at like 3 miles an hour. I had to get the thing towed to a hotel. It was the middle of winter time. It was just like the biggest disaster. And after that experience dealing with, that fatigue of dealing with low range, I wouldn't leave the Salt Lake Valley with my Hummer. And this is a truck that was $110,000, right? Like this is a luxury truck that I feel like I cannot take more than 50 miles away from my house. So I feel like the luxury EVs, non-Teslas, are going to take a big hit as people share in my experience. Now, Tesla did recently open up their charging networks to other brands, but as far as my understanding is, it's not really like, not every single charger is that way yet. Like they're slowly integrating it.